Yo, what's up, guys? Schizomanic here. So it's been E3 week. I've been off. My birthday's on the 16th, which is either the day before or the day of, depending on when you're watching this. But it's June 16th. Took the whole week off work to enjoy E3 and to chill. I got arms coming tomorrow. I'm just relaxing, baby. I'm enjoying this free time I have because you don't get it that often. But kind of neglected this channel due to the relaxation, and there is a video I've been meaning to do because people have asked me for it, and it kind of needs to come out. So this is for the Pokemon fan base. Now this could easily go on the game or the anime channel. I'm putting it on the anime channel because I think it means more to the anime side of things with Pokemon than it does with the games, although I will be referencing the games too. Because a lot of people are like, man, where's your region review on Gen 6, man? What's your thoughts on Sun and Moon? Have you been keeping up with it? And with all these things being said currently, I'm going to be real with you. I haven't really watched Sun and Moon since probably like the very early episodes. Like episodes, I would say 20 or back. Like episode 20 and back. Like nothing past that. Because honestly, and I guess I need to break down how I'm feeling about Pokemon in general, because it correlates with the anime as well. So here's the situation, because it kind of started with the games, but I'll stick to the anime right now. Gen 5 to me was like the last generation I really gave a fuck when it came to the anime. Gen 6 I gave an honest effort. I think I dived out of Gen 6 when he got to Valerie in the Japanese version. Like, it was like right after he let Guja go, and I kind of like, and around Valerie's introduction, and I just clocked the fuck out. I said, I'm not. That's also when Shoto was introduced, I believe. I don't even know what his English name is. And I'll tell you why. Because Pokemon is in a weird mix is in a weird situation with me right now. I was consistently watching the anime all the way up until the end of Gen 3. And then Gen 4, I watched Diamond and Pearl. The way I did Diamond and Pearl is pretty similar to the way I did X and Y. Well, I watched a good chunk of it, like at least half of it, and then like halfway through just fucking fell off. Just fell off bad. Now Gen 4, I actually had the wherewithal to go back and rewatch the whole fucking thing. I hated that for multiple reasons, but I wanted to do it before Gen 5 started. And Gen 5 means a lot to me because Gen 5 not only reinvigorated my interest in the anime, it also reinvigorated my interest in Pokemon in general. Because Gen 4 killed a lot of hype for me. Killed me in the game side and killed me on the anime side. That was probably the lowest my interest in Pokemon ever was Gen 4. Gen 4 was the first generation I didn't even finish Platinum. I think I beat Diamond and never beat Platinum. So Gen 5 meant a lot to me because Gen 5 got me reinvigorated into Pokemon. I played Black 1, played Black 2, fucking watched the anime, reviewed the anime. That's what a lot of you know me as the Pokemon guy because of Black and White. Black and White in a lot of ways has become what Gen 3 used to be for me. And Gen 3 is still important to me on some level, but I think Gen 5 is kind of taking it over. And so I was in super high spirits Pokemon-wise when we got to the end of Gen 5, particularly, but in some ways, because the anime, as you know, Gen 5's anime suffered near the end of it because they went into this annoying-ass Orange Islands-like filler arc that had no point to it other than to just have filler episodes that didn't lead into anything, which really kind of bummed me out. But the overall feeling from Generation 5 as an anime, I was pretty excited about. And then I hit Gen 6, and I would argue personally that the things I loved about Gen 5 got completely fucking negated when Gen 6 came out. Not on top of that, Gen 6 being a lackluster game. Now I beat X and Y, I don't get it twisted, and I played it for like 300 hours. So it wasn't like I didn't put time in X and Y, but even I will easily admit Gen 6 was not great. Overall, wasn't great. There's a few things about it I really like, but it really just served as a stepping stone. And so Gen 6 came out, and I enjoyed the games enough, and then I said, well, fuck it, let's go watch the anime. And the anime, I swear, The major improvement that the anime got that everyone started dick riding Gen 6 for was the animation. The animation was clean, it was crisp, it was beautiful, fucking gold, alright? That I will never disagree with. But I hated I don't think I said this, but like now I'm borderline. I just can't stand Gen 6 in a lot of ways. Particularly because the one thing Gen 5 got right, I know people can relate to this because of how you feel about Gen 5. A lot of the common consensus about Gen 5 is people hated the chemistry between the characters in Gen 5, which is funny because I kind of hate the chemistry between the characters in Gen 6. I think Serena was dragged out to an extent that just made it fucking terrible. Her fucking story didn't even start, and really to me, until like almost halfway through when she finally started getting her shit together. Clement was about on the same status as fucking Brock, where it was like, well, not even Brock, I probably would say Silent to a lesser degree, where you had a kickoff point, you tried to give him an arc, and you half-assed the arc, and then like you came out the other side of the arc and there was no change in her development. And part of it's just Pokemon as an anime. Because that was part of the issue with Serena. Like having Serena be Ash's childhood friend meant jack shit and all because you know how Pokemon plays the game. Pokemon isn't going to go anywhere too far into any direction and commit to some shit. So you already knew this whole Ash and Serena being childhood friends would never amount to anything. The fact that you even got a kiss was like, that's the biggest achievement. And it doesn't mean anything because it's fucking, and it might as well be non-canon because it's not like it really led to anything. It was at the very end of the season and it was like, we can do some cute bullshit and like it will never be addressed again. Which is the problem people had about Ash and his memory resets that kept happening throughout the fucking arc, throughout the later seasons. Particularly, I think it was Gen 4, Gen 5, and forward. And it was a fucking pain in the ass. Bonnie is an improvement from Max. I like Bonnie, but improvement from Max isn't saying much because Max was pretty low on the bar to begin with. Like, I hated that dynamic. And it felt like the dynamic we got where I felt like every character in Black, I would argue every character, Iris, Ash, and Silent worked as a trio way fucking better than Clement, Bonnie, and Serena, and Ash. Particularly because it just felt more genuine and you could see the characters were all doing their own stuff. And then you get into Gen 7 that fucking guy, and it pisses me off because Gen 6 I felt like was a lull. I mean, that was the reason why I can honestly admit to you, I haven't even beaten Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. Which really fucked me up considering those were originally my favorite generations, which I would now argue I think Black and White is my favorite gen now. I think Gen 3 is still important to me, but I think Gen 6 just really fucked me over. It might have been another lull I was going through. Gen 7, game-wise, was a reinvigoration. I love the way they handled the story. The problem it's just the fucking post-game. And it's one of those things where you enjoy the story, but you don't necessarily, but you can see the limitations of the hardware. And that's what it felt like with Gen 7. It just felt like there was more to do. There was more that was planned and just never got through, which is partially why I'm not as down on Ultra Sun and Moon as other people are. But it's besides the point. You hit Gen 7 in the anime, and the anime has the potential to do exactly what I liked in Gen 5. Good characters, good stories, and some interesting progression. And even then, they fucking ruined it. What they've essentially done is turned Pokemon into a bullshit ass slice of life with battling as a side thing has become way more comedic, but didn't even do what you needed it to do. Look, fine, if he's not gym badges or not, I don't care if he's in school. I care that he's still stuck in this hanging on the same island. He maybe go to a different one for a minute and then come the fuck right back. He hasn't done anything island trial related. And it's the issue Pokemon as an anime has always had, that when the stories in the games got better or more interesting, the anime never picked up the slack. That was an issue with Gen 5. I mean, it's always been an issue. Team Rocket, it wasn't as offensive. Team Magma and Aqua, it wasn't as offensive. Diamond and Pearl was pretty fucking stupid. And Gen 5, although was better, never really reached the heights that it could have because it's the fucking anime and we can't have it go that far. Team Flare was slightly expanded upon, but really all that did was take a fucking bad organization and elevate them to be mediocre in the anime. And Black and White was a nerf. And that shit bothers me. It's like I will never enjoy the evil teams because the anime will never take them to an extent I'm interested in. Also, same issue with Team Skull. Now, Team Skull is pretty mediocre to begin with. So there was I don't know. Team Skull was kind of it was going to be the way they were going to be, and you really couldn't do anything about it. But even some of the subtle things that they changed in Gen 5 that I was perfectly cool with, which was, dialing back on Jesse and James bullshit. That shit is not funny, nor has it been enjoyable. It feels like something you do for the sake of doing, but like when you got to Gen 6 and we went right back to the same old shit, and I'm just sitting there looking at the screen going, no, 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 no. And then you hit Gen 7 and we're continuing the trend again. And I hate it. I hate that Gen 5 got really close to doing what I wanted to do, minus some issues with the animation. The animation wasn't bad, but it's just that Gen 6 has better animation. Some issues with the latter half of the story and the underdevelopment of the villains because it's the Pokemon anime and we can't do anything with the villains. The stories in the Pokemon franchise are actually getting more and more interesting as the games go on, but the stories in the anime are still kind of stuck at this fucking bar. Like, the highest the bar seems to get is like around fucking like Black and White, maybe Diamond and Pearl levels of interesting. Like, we can't go any higher than that bar. And that bar for the anime that's currently the highest it ever has been is still below, like, even the most mediocre of Pokemon game stories. Like, it's like fucking Gen 4 with all the fucking dimension jumping and shit with the Dialga and Palkia. It's like, man, you couldn't even hit that level in the goddamn anime, and it was fucking depressing. So people have been asking me why I haven't talked about those games and I haven't done region reviews. The reason why I haven't done region reviews is because, shit, I haven't finished either of the regions because I have really no interest in finishing Gen 6. Gen 6 to me will probably always be loved for its animation and maybe what it did with Ash and Greninja in the latter half of it. And most people, it'll probably still go down as the closest Ash has ever gotten to actually beating a league. Like, it got really fucking close. But you can tell they're trying to experiment and do something different with the anime. Gen 7 is fucking terrible animation. Anime-wise. Like, I would borderline say it's probably the worst. And not because of the different approach. It's because of how they're handling the different approach. How are you going to have... And then it's another thing when you enjoy the story of Sun and Moon enough to where you would like to see, because that's what the anime adaptation for games could do. They could be expanding upon the stories set in Sun and Moon, or I mean, in any mainline Pokemon game for that matter. Instead, I don't care if you keep Ash or not. Just replace him. Just replace the main character in those games with Ash. I don't have a problem with that shit. My issue is you're not doing that. If anything, we get a nerf version of it. It's like people are like, oh, look, Gladion's showing up. I think I just recently saw a trailer where Olivia's finally showing up. But it's not even the way you want it to happen because you took the majority of the trial captains and you made them a part of the main squad. So you took out half of the joy of traveling. Traveling is still a fun aspect of Pokemon. No one was ever sitting there watching the anime going, man, I hate the fact that they travel so fucking much. You know what I think it was? I think it's that they start running out of ideas for what they wanted to do for fucking stories. You know why? Because if you notice in Gen 6, there was a lot of redundancy and they started focusing on other things later on in the series because the stories ended up being redundant as shit. Like the stupid race with Noibat participating in. Oh yeah, we never seen the flying Pokemon race before. Or the fact that fucking Gen 6 had the balls to do 2 haunted house stories. In the same region, you did 2 haunted house stories. You fucking kidding me? I mean, granted, Gen 6 had its good points. I'm not sitting here saying Gen 6 was absolutely terrible. Gen 6 just had a lot of shit in it that I didn't really care for. And I think what made it worse is that you fucked up the main cast. Bonnie's better than Max. Good job. Serena to me is mediocre as fuck. I mean, excluding the Gen 7 cast because I haven't really followed the anime enough for Gen 7 to say anything, I would say Serena is like my least favorite of the girls. Like, almost, I would, yeah, lower than Dawn. Because I think Dawn, even though it had a redundant development, at least fucking, it wasn't, I got through, I could go back and rewatch Diamond and Pearl. I'll put it that way. I rewatched Diamond and Pearl. I have no interest in rewatching Gen 6. Especially considering how it's the Pokemon anime. Part of, like, if you want to know the reason, is part of it's just because of the way they're handling the shit. And then two, it's because the Pokemon anime is still stuck in this little fucking box. It's like the games are finally trying to step out of themselves. And the anime is still in its little kid-friendly, Nerf version of shit box. And I get that they don't want to fall into the same trap as like Yu-Gi-Oh! And fucking Digimon and other series. But like, they're not stepping out of the box either. They're just stuck in this same little bullshit-ass box that we've been hanging in for I don't know how many years. And part of that you can admit is me being jaded towards it because I like black and white. I like black and white a lot. Like, dead ass. I really enjoy black and white a lot. And for them to fuck up on the main thing, the main three characters, just irked me for X and Y. Also, the Goodra stuff was kind of my final straw. It's like you're rushing through the Goodra stuff for the sake of having it, and just to go right into Noivern for the fuck of it. And it was like, oh, come the fuck on. And then we had to go through a dumbass arc with Ash and Greninja about them getting their shit together, and I'm not in the mood for that shit. Sometimes I just want to. They can't even. I want them to tell a good region in itself without fucking around with anything else. Because Black and White was close. I think Black and White was close. Was the closest they got to perfecting the formula of the Pokemon franchise. Because Gen 6, fuck you. No, hell no. Absolutely fucking not. So I have really no intentions of finishing Gen 6 because I just did not, there's nothing there to make me want to watch it. Especially considering how Gen 7 is. I'm just in a lull with the anime. I think it may have gotten to the point where I just don't care about watching the anime anymore. Which I think it's already gotten there. I think realistically, if Gen 8's anime is like mediocre as fuck, I may just ignore the Pokemon anime entirely from this point forward. Because Gen 7, I'm barely watching like the preview trailers for episodes, which is like the bare minimum you can do. Where I'm still keeping up with what's going on, I'm just not watching the episodes anymore. And I think it's getting to the point where I just don't even want to do that. The games are trying to expand themselves and are getting more interesting. The fucking anime, not so much. Not so much. So, yeah. That's my whole Pokemon anime spiel. And fucking, I think we're done. I think I'm done here. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. If anyone is getting ARMS for the Switch, catch me online. You can get these hands with my Pro Controller. And I'll catch you guys later. Life's a game. Play to win. Peace out. Oh, ho, 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 ho.